Hi, Olivia.
Hi, Nicky.
How are you?
Good, very good. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we met at the Frans Seda
Mm-hmm.
Foundation event, which was really fun.
Yeah, like a couple months ago, right?
Yes. Yes. I think that your work is really cool in health, and I'd like to know more about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure other people would like to know more about it too.
It's an honor.
Well, first we're gonna start with some icebreakers.
Okay. I'm so-
Olivia, if you can invite three guests to your talk shows, and if you can make any talk show that you want, who would the guest be?
Mm. You didn't tell me about this question. Hmm. First of all, I don't think I will. I will not ever have a talk show, cause I'm really shy and I don't really like to talk to people. So, yeah. But if I have one, I think I'm gonna invite. Should it be like people, the national people, or like international or whatever? It can be anyone.
Anyone?
It can be anyone. Okay. Okay. Tough questions. Maybe Michelle Obama.
Mm.
I like her a lot. She's very inspirational as well. And the other two. Who else? Well, maybe some musician like Stevie Wonder. I also like him, and he's doing a very good job in his music. Also, the other one, I don't know. Just two, maybe. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool.
Okay.
All right. If you can have a drink that describes you, like a cocktail or a beverage, what would it be, and why?
I think I would like to have mineral water, perhaps, to describe me. Very plain, nothing special. Yeah. I always order sparkling water or mineral water, so that's like the perfect beverage to describe to me.
That's essential. That's
Yes,
essential.
and it's still very healthy, right?
Yes. How about carbonated mineral water? Is that
Um,
healthy or not healthy?
Carbonated is sparkling, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same, right? Yeah. Well, I like it either, so that should be fine.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah.
awesome. Now,
Mm.
what's the best gift that someone has given you?
Oh my God, what kind of good question? Best gift. I think a song. Yeah. Someone has given me a song that he sings. So yeah, I think that's like the best gift that I like the most. I think.
Wow. Like like original
Well,
music or
no, he sings someone's song. Yeah.
wow, sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Music is great.
Yeah.
All right. Olivia, can you tell us a little bit more where you grew up and how did you get here?
How did I get to Jakarta?
How did you get to where what you're doing right now?
Okay. Yeah. So I was born and grew up in Jakarta. So I really, I think I recognize myself as a Jakartan, real Jakartan. So every time people ask me about, where are you from? I always like, from Jakarta, I think. Yeah. So, I like to describe myself as from my background, from what I studied, and I did my bachelor's in pharmacy, and then but then I never worked in pharmaceutical area or like pharmaceutical company. So I changed my direction a little bit from ever since I started working in a remote area, like years ago in 2012, I had the opportunity to go to like this a remote area very near to the Mount Bromo, if you know, like in Pasuruan. So I was there with the other four young health professionals at the primary healthcare center. We were working there for like 1 year, and we had the chance to like working with the community to really get close with them and to really see on the ground what's happening there, to see the disparities between like health facilities in urban area and in rural area. So uh, that was kind of turning point for me, because afterwards I really changed my direction. And I also realized that I really want to work in this area. I really want to work in public health, and I really want to make a change, and I want to affect maybe like wider public further. So that's kind of a little bit story of how I got here, I think.
Yeah. That's really cool. And you worked with Pencerah
Yeah.
Nusantara. Was
That's the program.
organization?
Yeah. Well, the
Where you work?
organization called CISDI, Center for Indonesia Strategic Development Initiatives. They kind of initiated this program to deploy the young health professionals to like different remote areas, to the areas that need the most healthcare and stuff. So yeah, that's the program actually. Yeah.
So you worked in CISDI since you graduated.
Yes, kind
Wow.
of. So
How's that like? How's the organization like?
oh well, CISDI is very special to me because well, I've always been the same boss. Well, I did an internship for 6 months at WHO back in my master's. So I had different boss back then, but yeah. But yeah, so it's a very unique organization, I would say, because we're mostly youngsters. Well, if you can say like 30 something is also still youngster, yeah. Yeah, so it's quite unique because most of us are still young, and we have like we have the luxury to like to innovate and to do things our way, and we can do things like creatively and whatever. Well, at least we have to reach like one target, but we can do it in our way. That's a very I don't know, like, but I know that many organizations that they cannot really offer the kind of luxury, right? So they have to do it like their own ways and stuff. So, but in CISD we have the like flexibilities, we have the luxury to do different things, and we are focusing on things that maybe has been overlooked, like the primary healthcare area, and like youth empowerment and stuff. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience for me, and my colleagues are great. They are great. So yeah, I like it. I love it. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What has been the challenge in your sector and in your experience?
Well, in health sector there are so many challenges, but maybe the ones that I face on daily basis, I think in this area we're a little bit frustrated because because maybe our counterparts, maybe the governments, they don't really cooperate well. We want to help them, but then they take us for granted, for example, or they just don't. But well, the work pace is just not the same between us, and then sometimes they're too slow, or they just don't understand that this is really important, and sometimes we just really have to adjust the work pace, and we just really have to understand all the bureaucracy and all that stuff. So so because what we're trying to do here, we would like to change the behavior of well, to improve the health of the community, right? But then the basic principle of our work is that we cannot really blame it to people. Like maybe people don't do this because of the there's no like enabling factors, or there's no like enabling environment that provide them or give them the access to do things, right? Or even like to seek for healthcare. So we blame it to the government. We blame it because they should provide the basic access. They should provide the regulation, the right regulation, the right policies to like give better access, or like to socialize or to educate people, to give them right education to understand things and stuff. So that's what we're trying to do. We try to affect the policies. We try to like to engage and to increase the knowledge, and then the what should be done better by the government to the people. Yeah, that's what we try to do. Yeah.
I think one of the cool things that CISDI is doing is focusing on a topic, which is tobacco.
Oh yeah, we do that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Why tobacco? Why not other topics? And why? What is the strong commitment of it?
I think because I think it first started because we had the opportunities to like to do the study about tobacco control and its association with the achievement of SDGs. Back then, like a couple of years ago, we had the grant from Bloomberg, from the international donor, to do this study, and then afterwards, I think we started to see like the importance of keep doing it, because it's a very important topic. And if you really look into it, because the cigarette itself is like is a risk factor for almost every disease in the world. So
What's an SDG?
SDG is Sustainable Development Goals. So it's like 17 goals that need to be achieved by a country. Well, it's not a legally binding agreement, but it's like verbally agreed by well, it's already in our regulation too, but it's like agreed by like 190 countries, the UN member states, to agree to achieve these goals, to in order to be like prosper, to be like to have a sustainable development in their country and stuff. So it's like they have to achieve these 17 goals, and they like include everything in the goals. You can see like from health to like employment and everything. Yeah.
And you believe that tobacco is one of the key things that will lead to that goals being achieved.
Yes, it's included in the, one of the targets actually, tobacco. So, so if you look into it, like if you learn about diseases and stuff. Well, I have a health background, so it's every time you learn about disease, you can see that one of the risk factors is tobacco. It's tobacco and alcohol actually. So tobacco is like one of the main factors. But the thing about tobacco is when you smoke, you poison other people, right? That's like external spillover and stuff. But if you drink alcohol, you just poison yourself. You don't poison others. But that's different thing with tobacco. So it's a very essential topic, and it's highly consumed in our country. Like people smoke like crazy and everywhere. Like, so it's a topic that we like to to go further into, to dive deep, and especially to decrease the prevalence of young smokers. That's our main goal actually. Yeah.
When I was studying in university, I took a statistics course, and one of the first examples is to learn the difference between correlation and causation. And the case was tobacco, whether it is correlated or causing diseases like cancer. What we learned was it is highly correlated,
Okay.
but the causality is to be determined or something, but it was not definite. From a health perspective, is that true, or are there many other things that we should consider about the causality of smoking and other diseases?
Well, it's a little bit tricky because you talk about statistics. Because there are so many studies talking about this, whether they are correlated, whether they're causing the cancer and stuff. Because one study done by the tobacco company might also argue about the causality, and then the other study may also like counter the argument itself. So I would say it's, well, even though there are so many studies, talking about whether they are correlated or they're causing it, but in the real life, well, at least the studies that I know of, they can suggest and they can show that the smoking behavior it really is causing the, well, maybe not causing, but somehow there's like this terminology called smoking attributable diseases. So they kind of estimate the risk ratio and all the SIF, what is it, smoking attributable factors and stuff. So they kind of show that some of the diseases that are attributed to smoking behavior it really is caused by because of the smoking behavior, and so it really increases our health burden and stuff. So if you take a look into it, I think it's a common knowledge. It's not a secret anymore that smoking really does harm your bodies and stuff. So I don't know if like people still are arguing about it. I don't feel sick. I've been like smoking for like so many years. I don't really have anything, any harm caused by smoking and stuff. But maybe, well, it really depends on each body, right? Because like you have like other genetic factors and so many other things that may influence the cause of a disease like cancer and stuff. So you cannot really determine like one person may have like the same experience as others, right? So it's really a tricky question, but I still believe that they have like a very high correlation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And okay. Yeah.
Can I also ask you a question though?
Of course.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So you learn about economics.
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything maybe like health economics that may interest you like during your study? Is there anything?
Health economics?
Maybe economics related to health or like.
No.
No?
I was actually avoiding it because
Yeah.
my department head was focusing on health economics, and
Okay.
and he was very focused on his own things and not very focused on my studies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I avoided it.
Mm.
But the only thing that I knew about health was that statistics case, which was
Yeah.
eye-opening because that was the thing that my professor was trying to highlight, the difference between causation
Okay.
and correlation. But to your point, yeah, I guess every body is different, but that is the only exposure I had to
Yeah.
health economics.
What about behavioral economics? I think it's like a growing subject nowadays.
It's so interesting,
Yeah.
with psychology in it,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't really studied it.
Mm-hmm.
It does ask the basic questions whether you want higher utility or not. Sometimes you don't want higher utility in some cases, but it's very rare. But I just Wikipedia it and YouTube it and pretend that I know about it, but I don't.
Have you read the book titled Nudge
No.
by Richard Taylor? I think
No.
yeah, he got like Nobel Prize on behavioral economics. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Richard Taylor on Nudge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading Daniel Kahneman.
Oh yeah,
Thinking
Thinking
Fast
Fast
and
Slow.
Have you read it?
I haven't, but I heard a lot about it. It's a really good book, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I know tobacco is just one thing out of many that CISDI is doing. Tell us more about what CISDI is doing. You're very active and in it, and in your Instagram, like you're talking here and there. What the other things that
Okay. Well,
you guys are focusing on?
I'm forced to.
You're forced to.
I don't like talking. Yeah.
Well, as a policy director.
Come on. Yeah. So we've been working on different topics, but mainly on primary healthcare and tobacco control. The other thing that we tried to work on for like the past 6 months, perhaps, because we got a project on it, was about stunting, but nutrition stuff, and what the other thing? Oh yeah, we also been working on track SDGs. So it's like a platform. So it's like an online platform for CSOs, for the non-state actors or the civil society organization to like showcase their initiatives, what they've done to contribute to the achievement of SDGs, and also it's like a platform for them to meet like with the other business sectors, like to collaborate and to learn about the best practices. And the other thing, what we've been working on. So stunting, tobacco control, track SDGs. Yeah, well, we also initiated like some kind of youth coalition on health as well. But yeah, and also we did events. Like it's a forum. We did like three forums last year on youth empowerment. So it's more like to increase the participation of youth in health development and policy making, decision making and stuff. And I cannot think of other things. Yeah.
What do you mean by primary health care? What is that?
So puskesmas.
Puskesmas?
So yeah, puskesmas. Puskesmas is our primary health center, which is called puskesmas in Indonesia, is a healthcare facility. Is the main, like the forefront. Is supposed to be the forefront of the community health, where people can access it anywhere. Like it's very nearby to your house. So every time you get like for example, common cold, you can just go to the primary health care center and then access healthcare there. So primary healthcare is like the very basic health facilities that you can access, and they also give you like basic healthcare. And well, if you look at the bigger concept of primary healthcare, like by WHO, it's like it should provide like healthcare such as from curative, rehabilitative, promotive, preventive efforts, and the other one I forgot. So yeah, they should provide like all that stuff, but emphasizing on promoting and preventing diseases, actually promoting health and preventing diseases. So it's like a very big concept, but the thing in Indonesia, I think we it's not functioning well because we have almost like 10,000 of puskesmas, but the thing is, you don't even go to puskesmas, I believe.
I did. I had a good experience.
Yeah?
Yes.
Where is it?
Close by, Menteng Atas.
Okay. They must have the good one here. Yeah, but I think in many areas in Indonesia, they don't even have the healthcare workers there. Don't really have a good facility, like drugs, medicines, and all the stuff. They don't even provide the essential ones there. So it's still like still big problem in many parts of the country. But I think in Jakarta, I think they have like good buildings, very highly skilled healthcare workers. But yeah, in other parts of the country, you can see that still lacking in many ways. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
You mentioned WHO,
Yeah.
and what is your international experience has exposed you to? What have you gained from your internship there, and what did you learn about? Did you get to compare other countries as well? In your experience?
Kind of. So I was interning at WHO Europe. It was in Bonn, Germany. So they kind of focus on environmental health. So the one that I did my internship is focusing on environmental health. So I did quite some project back then. It was about noise, circular economy, and blue health, things like that. What I learned, yeah. So yeah, blue health is like. So I will explain it. So what I learned from them is actually they already focusing on like issues for like very developed countries, I would say, because they're focusing on like already like how to improve the well-being of the people. While here in Indonesia, we're still trying to like prevent diarrhea from children because of the flood and all stuff. So you can see the difference, right? We're still here trying to prevent people to catch like infectious diseases, even like to just give them access to healthcare and all the stuff. But there they already talk about how to improve well-being, how to give like more fountains, more ponds in the park, so people can have better mental health, so they can be more relaxed and all this stuff, you know. So
First world problems.
yeah, so I was like, I cannot really relate with the things that I work on back then, and I feel like I can be more useful in Indonesia. I can be more relate with the stuff going on here, and yeah, so yeah, I mean I had had I had I have good experience, and but yeah, if I can choose, I would always go back to Indonesia and to do more work here and to do things here. And the other thing I think back in WHO, people like they were working more individually. They just focus on their own projects, and they don't really work as a teamwork. While in CISDI, we work really as a team. That's what I really like about CISDI. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, you get to like what you do right now and get an international experience too.
Yeah.
What are your favorite experiences from the field? Any particular stories or experience that has stayed with you from your field experience?
So I only have field experience when I was working as a pencerah Nusantara. Nowadays, well, I don't know if I can say this, but it's getting a little bit boring for me because like I only I will only sit in my office all day long, just like in front of my laptop, read things or just meet people, talk, and things like that. Like just write and try to do some analysis and stuff, but not really go to the field to see like real things on the ground, to talk with the community, talk with people. So so I only have experience when I was working a couple years ago as a pencerah Nusantara, and when I did some field visit to like monitor the progress, and the, well there are so many interesting things actually because my bachelor's the program that I was studying, pharmacy, we actually in general the pharmacy students, we don't really have the chance to go to the field, like to go to primary healthcare and to go to remote area to like work as a public health officer or practitioner, because we usually just stay in the puskesmas, give the medicines and consult the patients. We don't really go out and like to do like health promotion, or really like to go to posyandu and meet babies and mothers and stuff. So I had that opportunities to like to go out and to go to schools, to go to posyandu and all this stuff. And I think having an experience in primary healthcare center in remote area is really a big deal for me, because I really had the chance to see like unique cases. Well, even though it was devastating to see like your first person dying in front of you and all the stuff, like and like many social problems happening, sort causing the disease or causing a health problem, and things like that, like and I think the most devastating experience was when so we actually were staying like at the back of the primary healthcare, like right in the back of the primary health center. So there was like a house for us, like for it's owned by the puskesmas actually. So like in the middle of the night there was someone in front of our door, and they brought like three or four dead bodies. And I shouldn't smile, but it's so they died because of the carbon monoxide poisoning, because so it's really cold in it's up in the mountain, right? Well, it's really near to the mountain, so it's really cold there. So people like to just to, I don't know, like they have this kind of stuff like wet coals. They burn the coals with like stainless steel, and then they just cover it. And the thing is, when you do this, you cannot, you have like to have some oxygen. You have to like open the windows and stuff. Otherwise, you will get you will get poisoned by the carbon monoxide produced by the coals. So that's the thing. There's this whole family died because of the carbon monoxide poisoning.
So he was working in a coal farm, or
No,
place where you take the coals out?
They were tourists actually. They were tourists, and then they were staying in this guest house, and then they didn't know that there is a carbon monoxide poisoning, right? So they just burn the coal to like warm up their room, and then that happened.
Wow, so
Yeah.
they died in their sleep?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it was really devastating because they left like 3 daughters.
wow.
Yeah. So there were 3 of them: the brother, and then the parents, and then I think that's the most frightening experience
Wow.
that I had. Yeah.
As a pharmacist, do you like to make your own medicines?
No, of course not. I don't have the license to do it, and I don't have the ingredients for sure. It's like the $1 million question for a pharmacist. But I'm not a pharmacist yet because to be a pharmacist you need to have a 1 year professional education. I only have my 4 year of bachelor's degree, and then I did not continue to further professional education. Yeah, because I found my other passion in public health, so I thought, why should I? Why should I continue?
And
Yeah.
how did you find it? Were you involved in the groups when you were in college, or how did you find health in general? Was it a career fair, or
Yeah.
was it
Okay.
a movie,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah. So I think when I was a kid, I didn't really have like a broad of options for like career. Well, I didn't know about other things other than like to be a doctor, to be a I don't know, like pilot or engineer.
Wow.
So I really have like, and I think I've always been interested in like natural science. So I don't think I have like any talents in social sciences or whatever. So I'm never interested in that. And from natural science, I think when I was in high school, the options were quite limited. I didn't know if there's like other things, like even in public health, I didn't know that there was a public health subject to study in. And so my options were actually, I if I wanted to be in health sector, it's either to be a doctor or a pharmacist, because I love biology and chemistry. So yeah, my options were just like those two. But I didn't think I can like study that long to be doctors. I didn't think that I had the commitment back then, like to study that much. So yeah, I chose to be in pharmacy. And I think health has always been interesting. I think I also watched this movie. I think it's called Beyond Border, but and like Angelina Jolie was in it. And I think it's about like malnutrition or like starvation that happened in Ethiopia. So there were like malnourished kids everywhere, and like there was this kid lying on the ground and surrounded by vultures. So it was like really
Yeah, that's sad.
that really hit me back then, and like I really want to work in health. I think that's the moment that I remember.
Yeah. How do you suggest people who want to be good at chemistry, for example, they cannot balance the formulas and whatever? Should they go to lessons? Or,
I don't know. I think you just need to like it. You just need to like yeah, I don't know. It's really because I don't like arts. I don't like social sciences. I feel like history is really boring. I mean, it's different things like for every person, right? So you cannot like push people to really understand chemistry or like chemistry. So yeah, I don't know. Like I also cannot push myself to like history.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which subjects maybe did you like the most back in high school or like in college?
Probably math or physics, but not like the higher ones. I took like the middle class.
Cool. Yeah. I cannot understand physics until now. So
Well, yeah, chemistry was the most difficult for me.
yeah.
History, only the certain kind of history. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess in history is the top depends on the topic. Depends on the topic, right? There are things that may interest us, like I don't know, like music or art. That would be cool. But then if you're forced to do history, like European history or something you're not super familiar with, and you're
Sure.
graded,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
difficult.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
Yeah. I think what can I remember from my history lessons? I think I can only remember of like 1945, our independence
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I cannot really remember other years.
Yeah. 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 But recently you got invited by our president, Joko Widodo, to
Yeah.
talk
Well,
about tuberculosis.
yeah.
That was cool. How's that?
Yeah. Well, technically we sent a request to meet him, so not the other way around, because you sounded like as he invited us and stuff. So we sent a request. Because there was this like one big event, one international event, a meeting on tuberculosis by like different stakeholders from different countries in Jakarta. So we thought that this would be a great momentum to like meet the president to talk about tuberculosis and to like to give to raise his awareness about the issue first of all, because when we met him, we showed the data and we talk about the issues around the tuberculosis, and he was quite surprised and amazed at the same time, because he said that I didn't know we had this big issue on tuberculosis in our country. I thought it was an ancient disease and didn't exist anymore and stuff. So we were quite satisfied with the meeting actually, because he showed his interest and in this January we will have another big event in West Java with Mr. President again. He will like open the event, and it will be like mass screening and stuff, just to raise the awareness to the community, to the general public about the tuberculosis issue that is still a big problem in our country, because in fact it's still have a very big incidence. Even in the world, we are like the third highest country to have the tuberculosis incidence, and may affect you anywhere, like in public transport, or you just don't realize it, because it's airborne, and people just don't go to health facilities to examine their common cold or their cough, right? So yeah.
Is it deadly?
It can be deadly if you don't get treated, because the easiest one, the basic one, because they have like different types: the multi-drug resistance, the extremely drug resistance, because of the antibiotics. The very basic one, you just need to get like 6 months of treatment. You need to get your daily medicines, and you need to you cannot skip it, because if you skip your treatment, then you have to like redo it again. So it's not that deadly, but then to make people comply for like 6 month treatment is sometimes also difficult, right? Yeah. So that's why people just because they may start the treatment, but then sometimes people just don't finish the treatment, then it will develop to like higher type of the disease, to multi-drug resistance, to extremely drug resistant, and it will be much more difficult to get treated, and much more painful, and have more side effects. And people just lose their hearings, and the other severe side effects. So yeah, that's
Cool,
the thing.
cool.
Yeah,
I want to talk about your international experience
I don't
again.
know.
You want some tissues?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. You want some water?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
How's your cold, or how's your eye? How's your eyes? Is it getting? It's nothing
I look fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Olivia just had infection, but she healed perfectly. What a hero.
Was a week full of illness. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it again.
Yeah. 'Cause, well, I like to sometimes compare countries, and sometimes it's easy to do, to gather information quickly. And you went to India recently. India has a lot of big population as well.
Yes.
Can you tell us about the differences between India's situation and here, and whether, I don't know, we can learn from there, or they can learn from us about health?
Okay, so I've been to India 2 times. The first one was in New Delhi, and the second one was in Nagaland. So there are 2 different states. New Delhi, I would say, is like very similar to Jakarta. Condition, well, the traffic is much worse. I really hate traffic in India, because people just keep honking, and even though they know that people are like just crossing the roads, and that the traffic light is red, they will still keep honking. And I think that's just the way they greet each other. I don't know. Yeah, I really hate the traffic. Yeah.
Say hi to each other.
So
Then?
New Delhi, I would say, is pretty similar to Jakarta. They have like the slums area as well, and there are also very pretty advanced developed areas like Sudirman, like Kuningan, and well, there. But in Nagaland, I think it's one of the poorest state in India. So I don't know how to compare, because the road construction was really bad, and it was everywhere, and you cannot really have like a smooth journey, because it's like very dusty because of the road construction, the massive road construction, and the garbage, the waste, the drainage system was really bad. I don't know which district or like sub district we can compare, because I've never been any part in Indonesia that looks like that. So I don't know. I don't know. Cannot really compare. Even though I've been to like many remote areas, many districts, but I think at least they were still a little bit more organized and much cleaner. But in Nagaland, the city center is more like our traditional market. So yeah, it just looks like that. But if you compare like the government between India and Indonesia, well, at least I know for the tobacco control and tuberculosis, the Indian government is really showing their commitment, their political willingness to like to step up, because they're really committed about it. I know there are like so many interventions to like decrease the prevalence and to reduce the use of tobacco and stuff. Even though they still have like very high prevalence, but they do a lot of things about it. But they don't have national health insurance yet. While here in Indonesia, we do have national health insurance, the BPJS, right, the largest national health insurance in the world. So, yeah, I mean, there are some good things and bad things as well. Like if you compare these two countries, but yeah, I think we're making progress. They're making their own progress as well. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that our insurance is the largest in the world. Is it in
Yes.
terms of the
Numbers of the coverage.
money being
Being pulled,
put in?
no. But now, in terms of the numbers of population coverage, numbers of population that being covered, I think we are the largest, and it's also called the largest single payer healthcare, because the money is pulled only by the BPJS, only like one single institution, so not like in different institutions, but only by the BPJS. And it's interesting because the number of the population, and because back when I was in my master's, one of my professors also talk about Indonesia's health insurance. It's like all the enthusiasts, the health insurance enthusiasts, they were like putting Indonesia under scrutiny because of like, this is the biggest one. We'll see if it will work out and all this stuff, because it just started in 2014, right? If you compare it to like NHS, it's already like more than 60 years already, and there are still so many loopholes and so many things to improve. So if we talk about BPJS, of course there are like so many problems, but there's also so many good things about it too, right? So yeah, I think we should be grateful that we, at least our government, already step up and to like provide us with this health insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What are the health policies of Indonesia that is worth supporting or worth looking at our national health policy?
Like, do you mean like more specific on what issue, or like in general?
In general, I don't know what they do. I don't know what the Department of Health do, but are they having a different goals than SDGs, or do they make their own, or do they focus on
yeah.
their problems? Or?
So in our midterm national development plan, it's prioritizing more on the, well, it's actually our president's priorities translated into our national development plan, and our president is focusing more on, if we talk about health sector, it's more on the stunting area, and BPJS also, like how to cover the deficit, how to prevent the deficit to happen again, and all this stuff. So as far as I know that, well, in our national development plan, you can see like there are so many health indicators that we need to achieve by 2024. So it's like 5-year development plan, right? So we need to achieve like so many health indicators, but I know that the government, the president, keeps on saying about his priorities on stunting, on BPJS. So I think these are two indicators that they will mainly focus on, and like they will put more efforts in it. Yeah.
What can the private sectors do to help?
Well, there are so many things that they can help actually. Like, but when we talk about private sectors in this development industry, they always thought of they can mobilize resource. They have like so many money, so many profits that are that they've already made. So they have like to give more resources. They have to give more money to like these areas, like through CSR or through other philanthropy sectors or other channels. But I think there are other things that they can do actually. They can help the government to like to work more effectively, like through I don't know, like more innovation technology, so they can help like through their expertise, give technical assistance to the government. But the thing about this kind of partnership between the public and the private is always like whether or not the private sectors have the conflict of interest, because it's a very debatable issue as well, because like in government, you want to get help by other sectors, by the CSOs, by the private sectors, but on the other hand, you want to know whether or not they have the other interest, the vested interest to like they want to help you because they want like to supply you with this medical kits or the medical advices or like new drugs, so you can use it and they can make profits and all this stuff. So this is always like tricky partnership scheme, but it needs to be done. But then it's always like a gray area, or like how you balance it with between this interest and then the needs of like to get more help and to get their more participation and all that stuff, you know.
Great.
Yeah. So yeah, there are so many things that the other sectors can do to help the government, because the government of course they cannot work alone, right? But yeah, that's the thing. So it's like what is the clear cut, what is like the real definition of like being in partnership and stuff, you know.
Awesome. Hey, you have a podcast called Lesehan. Shout out to Lesehan.
Oh yeah, just a fun thing.
How many episodes have you guys done?
I think we already have like 3 episodes. Yeah, well, we don't really have the time to like to record, because we work on different stuff and different places, and we don't get to meet like a lot. So yeah, and sometimes it's difficult to find like topics and like to find the person to be interviewed and stuff. So yeah, it's just a fun thing that we like to do, like to channel our interest in different topics, other topics that than our work, you know. So yeah, it's just a platform for us like to have fun in like more serious ways.
I like the episode on mental health.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
it.
Okay, so you listen to it.
Yeah, I think
Great.
it's great.
Okay. So you can you can hear about the quality of the sound and stuff.
No, there's no
Sure.
problem with all the sounds.
It's really
perfect.
bad, right?
No, I think you brought a good point there. Mental health, it's really popular. Everyone's talking about it, and so they are your coworkers. Am I correct? In
They
CISDI,
are
or-
not.
Oh, they're not.
They're not. They're actually just we're just a group of friends that met. I don't know, maybe by accidents or just our public health circle. You know, we just we knew each other, and yeah, they're not my coworkers. They're just like a group of friends, and we just got back from our master's study, and then we thought, why not we start like a circle of like friends, just to channel our interest in other health development topics and start a discussion and discourse about it. Yeah. So
Yeah, love
yeah.
it. Sorry, it's not just a podcast, is it? It's an organization.
It's a community.
It's a community.
Yeah. So we used to meet offline as well, like to have this discussion in person, gather like young health professionals and different areas just to gather together, just to get together and like to talk about one specific topics. But then we didn't have time anymore, so we started like more online discussions through our posts on Instagram and podcasts. Yeah.
Awesome. What does it stand for? Lesehan.
Stands for Lingkar Studi Pembangunan Kesehatan.
Lingkar Studi Pembangunan Kesehatan. That's
And
awesome.
I have a question for you. Why did you
I don't
start the podcast though?
Hey, I'm the one asking. Well, why did I start a podcast? Maybe same as you. Why you started Lesehan to start a discourse. I love that word. You know, you talk with people and you discover more about each other and the topic, and from there you can share that to others. But the biggest thing is inspiration. How people are doing their own work in a way that is purposeful. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're also doing great things because like you gathered like different people from different backgrounds and expertise. I don't know how you met all of them, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm lucky they want to be on here.
Of course, doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's talk about organization before we wrap up. Frans Seda, how did you get in touch with Frans Seda, and for the listeners, who is Frans Seda?
Okay, maybe you can explain about Frans Seda.
I'll add a background because I want to. I was in the class of 2017. We did a seminar. We had actually like a case competition, but it wasn't meant to be a competition. So everyone submitted their projects in the 5-day event, and then they had a winner. I did digital. I wanted to make a content, like a YouTube content, basically, because I think positive content can I think change the world. And other people were doing entrepreneurship, and other people were doing HR, recruiting. But to those who don't know, Frans Seda was a politician from Flores, who is a Catholic and who had a view to educate Indonesia, right? And he studied in Holland, right? In Holland. How about you? How did you get invited?
Yeah, so I knew about Frans Seda from Nindi. Do you know Nindi?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so she was in I don't know which year was it, 2018 I think. No, she wasn't in the same year as you.
No.
Okay.
Shout out to Nindi.
Yeah. So yeah, I knew about Frans Seda from Nindi, and I think I also had this kind of interest to like to get to know about Dutch Indonesia relationship, because I think I never had the chance to like to really to know like our shared experience or our shared history and all this stuff. So I was really interested in it, like to get to know more about it, and it was pretty interesting too because in our year it was called Innovation Lab. So we had the chance to work with like a non-profit organization. So we had this organization to work on. So there were like 4 of us, 2 Indonesians and 2 Dutch, and we were working on this organization called Kitong Bisa. Yeah, so it's like it's a non-profit organization based in Papua, working on education sectors and entrepreneurship and stuff. So we were meant to to help them to develop like strategic planning, what they need to to be done to like improve their organization, to like develop their organizations much better and stuff. So we were working like a consultant. It was like I think 5-day event as well. Yeah, so it was pretty interesting like to like have to interact with um, different people. Even the Indonesians there, they were all pretty interesting because we were just like different backgrounds and experience and age group as well. So I was like the second youngest, so it was pretty interesting. And we also during the event we also had the chance to talk about our patient, and I of course I did talk about tuberculosis. And
Nice.
yeah, and there was like this one Dutch lady. She talked about she started conversation about she being a minority in Netherlands. She's like Muslim and working in a low area. She's a lawyer, so how she gets discriminated and all this stuff. And it was really an interesting discussion because it sparked like many other arguments and many other like opinions about what the definition of discrimination is and all this stuff. You know, it's really interesting because it's like I felt like it's not really a thing that we talk about here in Indonesia. Like we tend to avoid this kind of issue, is this kind of discussion, right? But there they're just like openly talking about it and like agree to disagree and all that stuff, you know. So it's pretty cool, and I learned a lot about like how open they are and how yeah, and then so many issues like even discrimination still happen in like Netherlands and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. And of course I learned a lot about our shared history. Like it's really interesting about we went to Lingkar Jati. Yeah, learned about the
What is Lingkar Jati?
um so it's a place in Cirebon where they did this agreement. I don't remember the year, but I think it's 1984 or something. So no, it's 1948. Yeah, it's 1948 where they had this agreement to like cease fire and agree to like withdraw their military people from Indonesia and to like really give the independence to Indonesia and all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing I can remember. I'm not good in history, so I hope the information that I gave is correct.
I'm sure it is. Great. Well, I think we'll wrap that up. Thank you
Finally,
for
yes.
thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
It's a
been great.
pleasure.
Yeah. Where can people find you in social media? What are your social media handles?
I have Twitter account. It's at Olivia Herlinda, and also have Instagram. I have Facebook, but yeah, I think I'm most active on my Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you, Olivia.
Thank you so much, Nicky.